Welcome back to this episode of the Strat Show. Chanel comes to us from Vancouver, Canada, and this episode we just want to do a little bit more of an interview style, kind of get to know Chanel, but we want to get the touch base on, kind of what we're honing on this episode is just really identifying how important it is to collaborate, how to reach out to people, individuals, even if they're in the same industry. And I think a lot of the stigma is sometimes I'll have people that reach out to me and they're like, hey, I'm in a couple of years ago, they reached out saying, I do web design as well, blah, blah. And I just kind of pushed them off because I didn't see them as being a potential client because I was looking for people who needed website design or who needed work to be done. So when someone reached out to me saying they did the similar thing that I did, I would kind of like put them on the back burner, not really have a conversation. And within the last few months recently, when I have conversations with people that I meet in Facebook groups, I believe me and Chanel actually met in a group called Small Business Owners of BC, I think it was.
Yeah.
So that group is just for people in the British Columbia area in Canada, just so post like, yeah, I need help with this, and this. And I saw a post and she needed help with web projects. We reached out, and obviously through our new conversation, and we found out we're in very same industry. She does a lot of social. I'll let her explain what she does, but she does a lot of marketing and media and that kind of stuff. And I'm more of the web design side of things. So even though we were kind of in like competing in a competing industry and did very similar things, we actually found a way that we're actually able to collaborate with each other. She had some projects we might be helping her work on as far as like web development goes, and it just goes to show, guys, like, when you're reaching out to people inside of these groups or communications, don't put off and don't postpone that conversation with someone who might be doing the same thing, because you can collaborate, you can work together. This has been a big part of my growth as well. I have another collaboration with a guy based out of Costa Rica. There's another one I'm working with in New York. So even if you're in the same field, it's really cool. So without me blabbering on too much about that, we can dive more into that as well. Chanel, say hi, let everyone know where you're from, and we'll go from there.
Cool. So my name's Chanel. I am from Vancouver, British Columbia. I started up my marketing business 2020 with my business partner, Gwen. We actually met in school. Fun fact about our business, I have never met my business partner in person. So we took a huge risk and just kind of decided to start together, and we got really lucky. Because when I think of it now, it is really stupid. We have no contracts or anything between us. But yeah, we met in school, and we started in 2020. We started out doing ads management. We do that for companies that have national and international reach, like big brands, coaches, consultants, that kind of thing. And for me, like, my passion has always been fitness. So I really wanted to work in some kind of like fitness avenue. So we wanted to focus on gyms, personal trainers, all of that stuff. And we discovered through a lot of trial and error that with geographic location being restricted, so we had a boxing gym in Roswell, Georgia, and he only wanted to advertise 6 kilometers, or I guess 6 miles in the States around his gym. And so it made the audience size so small. So it just like made the ROI essentially non-existent, made the ad so expensive, which is what led us into SEO. So we started looking for other opportunities for this client, like what else can we do to help him if this isn't working? And we kind of stumbled upon SEO and Google rankings, and we started doing that in January of this year, brought on a team of SEO experts. So we've been working with them closely, learning a lot. And so now we do local SEO for local businesses, and we do ads management for businesses with large reach. That's the gist.
Awesome. So you said you started in 2020, so right when COVID was starting.
It was pretty terrible. So we both of us started school in 2020, and then that's how we met. And then we just kind of built from there. But you know what? It's not the worst thing, because businesses usually aren't profitable right away anyways. And it took a little while for us to get our bearings outside of school and get like experience in the field and really know what we were doing. So the slow start isn't the worst thing, because it really gave us time to like absorb the information and really learn.
There's a big misconception out there, and it even comes with our clients, where they hire us to do something. And the shitty thing about marketing is people have to pay a lot of money for it up front. Usually there's a retainer involved, there's hours involved, there's a lot of stuff involved, and they want like results right away. And like you're mentioning, like shit, the first business I had, I didn't have any money coming in for about 9 months.
Yeah.
So it sucked. And people don't want to hear that. Like in most things in life, you can throw money into it and then you see something come out of it. But marketing is a long game. SEO especially is a very long game, as Sean. Yeah. So you went to school in 2020, and then how long after all that did you actually open all of this up?
We did it immediately. We started setting up our business while we were still in school learning.
Yeah.
And
Smart.
so we've had it running like essentially from the second that we graduated. And we actually got our first clients right away as well. And one of them is still with us. So he's our first original client, which is pretty cool. And the other one just left like 2 months ago. So we kept him for 4 or 5 years as well. He just decided to change his marketing strategy. He wanted to have someone local that could kind of come in and see him. So yeah, that's sort of how we did it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, sorry, I'll go ahead, Justin.
I don't know if I answered your question properly.
Yeah, no, that was good. It's good to start off. There's no perfect time to start. I hate using this quote again, but what's that thing about the tree? Like the best time to plant a tree is today, or the first best time to plant a tree was yesterday, or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but you're right. Like you're gonna suck for a while, no matter what you do. You're not gonna do well in pitches, even if you know what you're doing technically with a marketing job or role or something. Things are gonna go wrong. So it's like just get out there and get started, and just get the reps in, because there's no shortcuts. There really aren't. So yeah, that makes sense to jump in, especially during COVID. It was a weird time during COVID. Some things got busier, some things did not. I imagine that marketing for a local gym during that time, even though that may have come later, it really wasn't something you could do in most of the states. They sometimes let them stay open, but you could only have so many people in the door.
Yeah.
So were you doing it for the gym then?
We were doing it for that gym probably closer to 2021, but I was right in that period. If you guys are in the States, I don't know if it was the same for you, but in Canada, we open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. So we would I was just like, I was at the time, originally I had like an actual job, and I just kept losing my job over and over and over again, which is why I went to school. But yeah, we started a little bit later, and it was okay because it took us a little bit of time to like kind of sort through it. So we did other stuff for them while things were opening, like social media and all of that stuff, to kind of just build his brand awareness. So it wasn't too bad, but the geographic location just destroyed us. And we were really lucky that he was just willing to like let us try everything and be kind of our guinea pig, because he was our first fitness gym that we had.
Yeah, it was tough. I remember during COVID, one of the rules at the Gold's Gym was if you're inside the squat rack, you didn't have to have a mask on. But as soon as you went outside this invisible square with no walls to put a weight on, you had to put your mask on. I'm like, it didn't make any sense. But so, I mean, dive a bit more into how you met Gwen, who's not even in the same country as you. I think she's in Tennessee or something like that, or somewhere in the States. So you met her. The big question is like, what made you guys sync up? Be like, okay, let's start a business, not have any contracts in place, and let's grow. Like, this is just like based on a feeling, a connection. Did you guys vibe together? And this kind of goes into the whole. When I first started on the episode here, talking about building connections, reaching out to people, looking to collaborate, like how kind of guide people into like, what is that feeling you get to want to collaborate with someone you had with her?
For me, I'm like a team player. You know how they say like, do you prefer being by yourself or on a team? I'm such a people person. I'm such a team person. If I had to do this job on my own, just sitting at home on my computer all day, I don't think I would have survived in this business, because I would go crazy. So we were in school and it was super difficult, and we started a group chat with like 10 of the students being like, okay, we're going to be accountability buddies. We're going to help each other through this. We can ask each other questions. And by the end of it, because it was ads management is difficult, and it's not something you get right away. And so slowly, one after another, the students quit, and they quit and they quit and they quit, until the end, there was 3 of us left. Gwen, another girl that we're friends with, Leslie, and me. And they were kind of at the point where like, all right, we're running on a budget. And I could just feel it in the air. And I was like, guys, one of you, like, let's partner. I really want to partner. Like, why don't we partner? We'll do this together. It'll split everything in half, like the cost, because especially when you're brand new and you just got out of school, you don't have a lot of money for business, and ad spend is so expensive. So the other girl, Leslie, said, no, I've invested enough, which to me is crazy, because you just spent all this money on school. Like for me, I'm like, I don't care how hard it is. I'm not wasting that money, especially in 2020 when there's no money coming in. But anyways, so Gwen said, yeah, okay, let's do it. I'm willing to do this. And it's funny because of the students, I hadn't actually had that much of a connection with her. Like we had spoken not as much as I had with some of the other girls, but I was like, okay, let's do this. And it turns out that we have like a lot of the same morals and values. So, like, we're both very honest. We don't like to sell people anything that they don't need. I think those are probably like the two main ones, but essentially we're just good people. And because in marketing, there's like lots of sneakiness, and we just saw that as we were learning in school, and we were like, we don't want to be like this. And then the other great thing is, and we didn't know this at the time, but we're super lucky, is that we have very different talents. So she has like a heavy background in corporate. She knows how to be a manager, how to organize. She does all of our Excel sheets, all of our billing, everything to do with like, I don't even know how our contractors or employees get paid. In fact, I never even look at our bank account. I just, when I need money, I message Gwen and she sends me money. I don't, but that's just not that's not my forte, right? I'm not a like, I don't know, spreadsheet organized person, but I am a bit of a visionary. So I'm the one who sort of like edits the copywriting, comes up with the ideas. And so in the beginning, we both just did everything. And then we learned what we were each good at and we split. And I'm so grateful because again, if I didn't have her, I don't know how I would handle like all the finances and paying everyone and all of that stuff. It's just, I'm glad I don't have to do it.
I'm with you. I love money just as much as the next person. But if somebody was like, hey, you're going to be super stressed out all the time, but you're going to keep all the money to yourself, or you could work with 2 or 3 people that you have to split it with, but your life's going to be less whatever. Like I will always, I mean, I'm older now, but like still, like I'm not that greedy. Like I don't give a shit. Like I just don't want to have to do everything myself. I don't, like you said, I don't want to have to know how everything works. There's certain things I just don't need to know. But that sounds like a great vetting process. So you're all part of a group. She kind of stuck it out till the end. I mean, that's really the best way to like, it's like the best job interview, especially over a long period of time, because they say like successful people are the ones that are willing to ride it out even when there's nothing going on. So it sounds like all those people kind of dropped off and then you kind of changed. So that's cool. Well, hopefully she's real. I know you haven't met her. Hopefully she's not some AI bot or something.
So I photoshopped this photo of the two of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's actually really lucky because like I wouldn't have wanted to partner with someone who's willing to quit when things get tough, because entrepreneurship is like some days you're excited and celebrating and some days you're crying and stressed out and it's just crazy. But I heard this quote on a podcast a long time ago. I listened to lots of like business and marketing podcasts, and this woman was like, the road to success and the road to failure, no one tells you this, but they're the same road. It's just that success is farther down the road than failure, and you have to get over these humps. And I always remembered that. And there's lots of times where like, I'm like, I hate being a boss. I don't want to be a CEO anymore. Just someone give me a job and tell me what to do. Like, I'm tired of like managing everything. But then the next day will be like the greatest day and something huge will happen. And so you just kind of have to manage your mindset, I guess. And I just try to always remember everything's temporary because, you know, if not this, then something else. Nothing's easy. Nothing worth it.
There was a quote I heard. I forget who said it. It was everything that he thinks about, whether it be negative or positive, he always says, "This too shall pass."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably Churchill.
You're having a bad day. You're having a horrible thing going on. This too shall pass. Things are going up and going great. This too shall pass, right? So it's don't always ride the high and things are gonna be great forever. Don't stay in the low and the sulkiness. Just everything's gonna pass, and as long as you can deal with the transition of that passing, life's gonna be a lot easier. And like you said, like there's days where like there's parts sometimes where being like a part owner in our agency and like that. There's days where it's like thing is fucking going wrong, and then there's other days where it's going great, and then when it's going wrong. I start thinking about like maybe I just go to mechanic and hard work. I just said, hey, drill pipe, okay, made a lot of money. That work, I'm like, no, this is okay. I'm living in Mexico right now. Life's pretty good. So it's just you have to have the right mindset, and that's the big thing. Like you said, with the failure, success. I never heard that quote saying it's the same road, just success is further. And I like that. And people they don't have the right mindset, and I think. The reason why I say entrepreneurship has such a high dropout rate is because people, especially nowadays, everyone wants to take the easy road. If things get difficult, they say it's not for me. You better quit. So they just it's people are especially with like society, the way that government's programming, media, stuff like that. If it's broken, throw it away. If it's not for you, try someone else. You're morbidly obese. You're beautiful. Like everything's just made to make you feel like everything's fine. And so it's just teaching people not to be everything in life. Yeah. So that's really I like how you met Gwen. It was literally like Justin was saying, Justin, Lee, Peyton, whatever you want to call him.
5 names.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Definitely no. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go,
But I think for a lot of people, they it's that differentiate. They being able to understand that hard work is required, and with that vetting process you had with Gwen, you had, let's say, the top of the funnel was 20 students. By the end of it's 3, and you're one of them. It's like, well, it's one of you two, I guess. It just made it so much easier.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think it's like a lot of it is like instant gratification, and you see it a lot with like it's like surfing TV channels, or like with Tinder, people just swiping because they're like, I don't like the mole on this guy's face. Next, and it's like you always think there's a better option, and then you never. It's like everything that's worth doing is hard work. Nothing's easy. There is no like marketing hack where you can make $10,000 a day for working an hour on the beach. Like it's just like. It's kind of like losing weight. You can try all these like crash diets, but at the end of the day, you just have to learn about nutrition and be consistent in the gym. Like there's no like sneaky way to like do marketing. You just have to learn the core values, and like, and it sucks because it's always changing. So you never get to stop learning.
Yeah, we got into this about the same time. I just turned 41. I'm 45, even though I look like I'm 50. I've been in the sun a lot. This is such a great conversation. This is the first time somebody's like, your hair looks good and your face isn't too pink.
I love it.
Years of I lived in the Miami area for 15 years, and I was
welcome to Canadians. Welcome to Canadians. Heavily. You're just so nice.
Yeah, I'm sunbaked and everything else. That's true. I forget. I got into it. The market was saturated. The industry was saturated, and I'm like, shit. I'm new at this, even though like I look older in meetings. So when I go to meetings, they're like, oh, another old white guy. He must know what he's talking about. But I'm like, I don't know. I just fucking started this thing 2 weeks ago. But I'm like, oh shit. The market's saturated. The industry's saturated, and I found it actually didn't take much to stand out. Now it took some time, I got turned down by every pitch I did for the first few months. Yeah, it really is. And then I find if you stick with it, yeah. And then like learning what to say, what not to say, what to charge, what not to charge, which I still don't understand to this day. I could throw numbers on things that make sense and don't make sense. But I found like, because this job, to get into the industry, to say you're a marketer, is a very low barrier of entry, because all you really need to do to call yourself a marketer is to have a computer and set up a profile, put it on your LinkedIn account, whatever, and you're a marketer. Like it's not like we're doctors. So the thing is, in order to stand out in the industry, you just have to like work on a reputation. But I found like, God, there's a lot of us out there, but there's so many shitty marketers. So that when people want to get into it, I'm like, look, man, the industry is super crowded, but if you just show up to meetings when you're supposed to, if you deliver on time, do what you say you're going to do, it's not that hard to get ahead. So, but anyway, I was saying we started about the same time. How have you seen the trajectory? Have you seen a lot of highs and lows, or have you been like steadily climbing, just with the market being so?
It's hard to say, because like my business has steadily grown over the years. So like for me, it's like this, because I started at 0. I guess you started at 0 too. We've definitely had like, this year has been our most profitable year. It's we had our most profitable month, but it's funny. They don't tell you this, but like, you don't think about all the overhead to running a company. So like on the outside, my business is making great money and it's like bringing in a lot, but I think it comes back to Gwen and I not wanting to overcharge people and not wanting to sell anyone anything they don't need. And so we pretty consistently keep our prices quite low. And so our profit margins are like this big. And as we get more clients, we have to hire more help. So it's like, oh, okay, well, we got these extra clients, we making this money. Oh, gotta hire someone. And so it's been a little bit tough, but I'm also aware that like, this is my first time being a business owner. And so I just see it as like, okay, this is probably something that all businesses have to figure out and go through. And I just got to figure out how to, like, I guess, become rich.
Yeah. And like I said, with the overhead, it's kind of funny is when I talk about overhead, like, my brother or my dad or my friends, something like that. It's like, you run an online business. What's your overhead? Internet and power? I'm like, well, there's more to that. Like, it's not just internet and power, but like you said, it's a lot. Because I mean, like now I have like a team of developers. We have VAs. We have our subscriptions. We have all of our communicating platforms that we use. We have all the course builders, all the Figma design subscriptions. There's just it's an endless amount of fees and subscriptions.
Yeah.
And
giving me an anxiety attack thinking about this. We have $1,300 in active subscriptions right now between the entire team, and I'm like, fuck. But again, we're not sitting in some storefront with cubicles and everything else like that. But yeah, that's another, like you're saying, it's a hidden cost,
Yeah.
kind of freaking out
And then the
things
hard
up
part,
there.
like, Jess was saying, like sometimes you try to price it so it's giving the client a good deal. You're still mid profit. Your profit margin might not be high, but
Yeah.
then again, when you start outsourcing, then all of a sudden the developer, whoever you have
Yeah.
as that third party service, they're like, oh, it's going to take 10 more hours. Like, well, I've already signed the contract for X amount of dollars, so it comes
I
out of your
know.
pocket. And it's
I
that's the hard part. So like, I have a project work I'm doing a proposal for right now, and it's a very intricate. Like we need custom API keys booked into it to integrate into like Booking.com, Airbnb. It's for a hotel resort down here, and we got the contract. Haven't told you yet, Justin. We got the contract, but yeah. So it's I'm trying to quote like based off of what they give you for information. Like, oh, I need this, this, and this. Like, okay. And you go to your developer, whoever you're hiring, you're talking, your media
Yeah.
designer, say it's a project, what do you think? Well, it should be between 1 to 9,000. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how do I quote that? So then you say 6, and then ends up being 10. You're out $4,000. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
And
like
especially when you start bringing other people into it also, we were talking about, my next question was going to be like layering like your management, your team and your project, your task management. I mean, because it's just hire 4 more people to help. Okay, well, with every person I hire, that's because it's not just me communicating with one other human anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's, I got to talk to this person has questions about this. So have you reached that point yet where you kind of have like all those layers of people, like, how do I do this or how do I do that? And like, because that's where we don't think about it, but your mental bandwidth will go. They'll be like, oh, you're making plenty of money. I'm like, well, yeah, but I have extra people now and I have to spend 3 extra hours a day explaining myself. So
isn't it funny? It's like I went to school for marketing, but how many hours a day do I actually spend on marketing? And how many hours a day do I spend on answering emails, answering clients, training my staff, like delegating? It's like this, I genuinely love marketing because I like the study of human behavior. And I think it's so interesting. But now other people are doing that. And I'm essentially like, I'm just an overseer, babe. Which I hate. But I think I remember there's this quote. Do you guys know who Sabri Suby is? He wrote the book Sell Like Crazy. He's like, he's the owner of King Kong, which is like a huge marketing company. But he was like, every business thinks he's like a guy who owns a shoe store thinks that he is in the shoe business, and a mechanic thinks he's in the mechanic business. He's like, you're all wrong. Every one of you is in the sales business. Like people start like, I don't know, a manufacturing company thinking this is what I'm going to be doing every day. That's not what you're going to be doing. You're going to have other people doing that, and your job is to sell it. And I think, I don't know, you just don't know what you don't know. So now I'm kind of learning all of this stuff. And it's funny, something you said before, that when you went to meetings that you were like an older guy. And so people were like, oh, you know what you're talking about. You guys wouldn't know this, but I'm 5 feet tall, so I'm quite small. I am 36, but I look a lot younger. And so I have such a hard time getting people to take me seriously. It's really nice doing it on Zoom now because I'm sitting down. But when I meet them in person, my clients are towering over me. And so I started just wearing glasses. Like they're not even real glasses, but I'm like, I remember my mom saying, people think I'm smart when I wear glasses. And so I just started wearing glasses to meetings. I'm like, okay, guys, take me seriously. So yeah, it's definitely been interesting.
Now, actually, kind of going off of that in a different segment, do you find it? I mean, your height aside, do you find it being easier or harder being a female in this industry? Do you find people take you seriously because you're a woman? Do you find have you come across any kind of struggles being a female and being a female business owner in this industry?
I feel like people trust me more. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm a woman or because I'm me, but it's feedback I consistently got because I do a lot of my sales in person. So like I said, I'm a big people person. I like connection. I like to I'm not someone who will get a client and then not talk to them again. Like I'm in contact with them all the time, which is also one way ticket to burnout. But I've had the feedback a lot, people saying, we've had lots of marketers come in here before, but I trust you. Someone said like, I have a trusting face. And I think it's because maybe a little bit I'm genuine, because if I don't know something, I'll say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out for you. Or if I have to do public speaking, like I do a lot of like presentations on my business and I'm not great at it. So I always go, guys, I'm really nervous. I'm not great at public speaking. And people like that like human side as opposed to the super salesy side. So I used to think that like, I'm not great at sales and that's kind of my weakness. but in a lot of ways it has become my strength because people are like right there with me. Like I'm kind of on the level of like the human level rather than like a salesperson that you're not really sure if you can trust. So I think it's worked out that way, but maybe it's just my face. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or not. Maybe I just got lucky.
Well, from my experience, I used to do high ticket sales back in like 2017. Like just going off of the company stats, the women sold a lot more. And I think it's because women trust other women more than women trust men, especially when it comes to an online market. Like, because even though yours is more face to face, but for online meetings and stuff like that, women trust other women more than they're going to trust a man. Men are pretty stupid in the sense that if a pretty girl says, "Hey, you need this," we're like, okay, we'll just buy anything off women, right? Like if a pretty girl says, if a pretty girl says you need this, you're like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah. I don't know what the question is, but the answer is yes. Whatever you got, I'll take it. I'll take
Perfect.
5. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, it's working in my favor then. Yeah. It's funny. We recently rebranded. So because I can't ever see Gwen, we can never take any content or photos together. So we've rebranded to like cartoon versions of ourselves. And my fiance saw my page and he's like, I don't know if you could do this because it just looks like 2 cute girls that are selling marketing. Maybe you guys should keep your faces on there. And it was the exact same thing. He's like, look, 2 cute girls. I'm like, well, it's not sustainable, but it's nice to hear.
That's funny, actually, that you two haven't been in the same place, because you actually have a lot of fun with that. Like, obviously make it look photoshopped for a couple things that, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like I'd be funny to like put faces on there. But I do like what you said earlier about going into a meeting or just being in front of people and not being afraid to ask questions or say that you don't know. That goes a long ways with people, because nobody likes to know it all, like somebody in the meeting just spouting out, or the people that say something just because they feel like they need to jump in on a meeting, even though they have nothing valuable to add. If everybody walked around with a number over their head about their value, whatever, like the person who always comes out, like you start rolling your eyes, like, oh, here he or she goes again. We know it's going to be bullshit because they can't keep their mouth shut. So it's refreshing when somebody's like, I don't know, or I don't know, but it's a tactic a lot of people use. Just ask a lot of questions, even if they're dumb. Like, who cares? It's like, okay, well, this person's really thinking. They're not just here glazing over, reading over the fucking script in their mind of the sale that they're pitching to me, So I think it helps a lot.
I think I follow up with a solution usually, because now at least I do have a team, and I think there's a lot of strength in, like, originally we did everything ourselves. So now I'm starting to gather experts, which is like how I met Sean. But if I don't know something, I can at least say, hey, I don't know, but I can find out the answer and I'll let you know. So that way it's not like, but it's impossible to be an expert about everything. I can't have all the answers. My brain isn't big enough.
There's sometimes where, like, to me, clients will ask me a question and I know the answer. And it's like, oh God, I can't. I got to get back to them because over the years of doing this, I have so much useless and useful knowledge that sometimes I can't even find it in my brain. I'm like, I knew this last week. So it's hard. So but being honest and transparent and upfront is like the biggest thing. And that's why I think we've been able to grow so much, and I've had such success with clients. And like by the end of the call, they're like, you just seem like a really trustworthy kind of person. I get a good vibe off of you.
That's why I liked you.
Way that you do that, that's why my partner likes me. And it's all about being authentic, and people can smell from a mile away when you're being inauthentic. If you're just in it for the money and you're just like, we're gonna build you the greatest website the world's ever fucking seen, you're lying, because there's so many good websites out there that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So for your $1,000, $5,000 website, you're probably going to be the greatest in the world. So if you're just being honest with them and open and communicate and be like, hey, look, for this price, we can get this done. This is our timeline. If you want it faster, we charge a bit more. As long as you're open and honest about that, people are just going to trust you because they respect honesty.
Yeah.
People, especially in the society we live in, we get sold to every fucking day. You turn on the TV, you open your computer, there's an ad here. This toothpaste is the best toothpaste in the world. This phone case is dropped. You're being sold all the time.
I bought this microphone because I saw it on an ad. I'm like, I need that. It looks cool. It's annoying as shit, by the way. So yeah.
Advertising works on me so well. I have to stay off of Instagram or I'll spend all my money.
Yeah, for sure.
I deliberately, and I know this sucks for people who run ads, but I always go hide ad irrelevant, so it fucks their scores up, because I'm like, I don't like this.
So one guy.
Just being authentic, because people smell inauthentic because they've been sold to their entire lives, and they're just tired of it. So to stand up in the crowd, just be authentic. Really authentic.
I think that's like how we're trying to like stand out in the market. So like when we were in school, the sales tactic we were taught was, like, in my opinion, like a black hat sales strategy. And so both of us just felt really uncomfortable doing it. And so both of us sucked at sales calls. And then when we built our business together, we were like, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore. And it was hugely beneficial, but there's so much like sneaky marketing out there that we want to be the people that people can come to and trust. And if we're not the right people for you, we'll find someone else. It's like, I'm not going to say, yeah, I can do web development, no worries, and then just try and figure it out and screw it up. I'll be like, okay, listen, I'm going to find an expert who's going to be able, if I can't do it, I'll find someone for you, so that I'm not giving like shoddy work just for $1. And I think with all the sneaky marketing out there, I'm hoping that we're going to really build a great reputation on just being honest and over delivering and being like someone who's going to level with you, even if it costs me a contract or some money, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really important.
It reminds me of a mistake I made last year is when I was down in Mexico. I made a lot of mistakes in Mexico, but a business mistake
I saw them.
Yeah, well, most of them. A business mistake I made is that we started getting a lot of traction, just a lot of proposals getting accepted and everything else. And we got a little greedier. I got greedy. And I'm like, oh, we can handle all this. And what ended up happening is spread ourselves too thin, and the quality of the work product went down across the board. So even older clients that would have been with me since even before I met Sean were kind of like, hey, what's going on with you? So I had to, so not only like you're saying, like, you have to tell them, hey, I don't know how to do this, but I'll look into it, or I'll find somebody who can help you. You also have to be like, okay, look, I know we have a chance at another contract this month, but would we be serving that client and the others if we took on more work? Because that'll really screw you also. So, but going back to COVID, I got into marketing 2020. And then I think it was like the next year or 2 years later, ChatGPT came out. And I'm like, well, there goes this job, you know? And that hasn't happened yet. But what's been your experience with AI? I imagine you're like us. You probably integrate it into a lot of things that you do, because you'd be foolish not to. But we see it as a useful tool, and it's helped us. What's been your just general experience with all that?
I think it's definitely like, it's an assistant. It's not a replacement. And so something I was thinking about. So do you guys know what Haro is? Help a reporter out? Yeah. Okay. So it's rebranded to Sources. So it's essentially like a hub where all journalists who are looking for experts, Sean, I can send you the email, that are looking for experts to write articles on. They put their questions in this hub, and then if you're the expert, you can answer and potentially get featured. And I saw someone say, you know, ever since I started doing this, or ever since AI came back out, I just get a bunch of AI garbage. And it's like, in AI copywriting, at least for me, I can see it immediately. Maybe it's just because AI is like so big in marketing right now, but it's definitely not a replacement for human connection. And I think it goes back to like, that authenticity. If everyone's using ChatGPT, then all the writing sounds exactly the same. And it's like, people know, and people will get wise to that that's not really you. And so I use it kind of sparingly. I use it a lot more for technical stuff, like systems and all of that stuff. But I'm really trying to steer away from it for copywriting, except for maybe brainstorming, because I really want to be different and unique and not just what everyone else has.
Not a robot. Yeah. And that makes sense. So I think if anything, the introduction of ChatGPT, I mean, I might be putting words into your mouth here, but it's actually helping your business in the sense that it's forcing you to be authentic and stand out. Where, because everyone else now, they're probably saying, you know, they have a high overhead costs, they're paying their copywriters like, oh, I can save $2,000 a month on my overseas copywriters or the copywriters that I have, and just use ChatGPT. So now their quality is blending in with everybody else's, and you're standing out more.
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal. I'm sure that AI will get better and better, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a replacement for anything, for sure. I feel like we'll have jobs for a long time.
Obviously, it's not going to get worse, you know, because there's a lot of people that put their head in the sand when it came out. Because I started as a copywriter. Now I do all kinds of dumb shit, but that was like my main thing in the beginning. And I was like, everybody around me was like, oh, it's not going to be that good. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not, but we can't be foolish and not check it out and not learn how to use it. So there's those people that are like, I'm never using this. I'm like, all right, well, you're not going to be able to keep up with the volume and the demand then, because you're not using it. Because it gets me like 70% there, 80% there on what I need to do. Why not? So I feel like it kind of like screwed the people, like the tier system for copywriters. If you're really, really good, you're okay because you can use it and then fine tune it. If you really sucked, and not to, there's no other way to say this other than there's a lot of offshore copywriters that English is not their first language. So they're okay. But so if it helped a lot of them out, like I call them the lower tiered writers, the least expensive ones. And those of us that are good enough or whatever, like it helps us out. The people in the middle that were just mediocre, I think they're the ones that suffered the most because they just don't know, they can't edit it to make it better. They don't know what they're doing. So I agree with you. I think we're safe for at least the immediate future. And look, by then, like that's what entrepreneurship's all about. If I got to learn to do something else, I will. So I'm not worried about it, but I don't hide from it either. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it's really great for like automations and stuff like that, or like tasks, like kind of systems in place.
Yeah, one of my favorite AI tools is otter.io, or I think it is, or whatever, the recording one. So if you ever have any meetings, so before when I had meetings, I'd have to with my phone in my hand, either take the notes down or write notes down. And now it just automatically records the whole meeting. You can get it to transcribe it into the bullet points, who said what, give you summaries. Like, it just makes note taking so much easier. And by the time you're in a meeting, you have a great conversation. Shit, what they want to do again? Oh no, you forget it because you're so in zone. And I like being in, like, really in the zone with my communication, my meetings. So that just alleviates that. So that part of AI has helped out a lot. It really has helped out a lot.
Does your Otter AI have like this is going to sound weird, but does it have a name? So like my assistant set the same thing up for all of our meetings. So we have AI recording it, but I get an email from Fred, and Fred is the AI that like is like, here you go. This is so. It's just curious. Yeah, I get emails from Fred.
Mine just says Sean's AI note taker, but I did train Siri. Whenever I ask Siri what's my name, she calls me Daddy, so that's kind of nice.
Mine calls me the queen of everything. That's so funny.
That's fucking great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, before we wrap this up, because I have another meeting in 4 minutes. I got to get to my meetings keep getting scheduled and pushed back. Justin Lee Payton, the man, the myth, the legend. Is there anything you have any questions for Chanel?
Whatever name it says on screen right now, I'll go with that one. So what happened here, Chanel, is that a few years ago, my name's Justin. I've gone by that my entire life, obviously. And then when I started the copywriting gig, I changed my middle name because I'm also writing a book, and I'm like, that'll be cute, like an author, Lee Payton. So now what happens is everybody knows me by both, and nobody knows what to call me. So I'm thinking about just changing my name to Gary or Fred or whatever. I could do
Fred,
that.
yeah.
So
the world is your oyster.
Yeah, kind of, except for all those legal things I have to deal with and everything else, learn how to sign something again. But yeah, so what's next? I mean, I know we got into a lot. Any big plans for the agency on the horizon?
So it is to do with SEO, but there like is an SEO avenue to do with like GPS. Do you know what I'm talking about? So it essentially like fast tracks you to the first spot of Google, like guaranteed within like, I think the first month. And sometimes it can do it as fast as 3 days. And it works with, like, let's say if I had a business, GPS coordinates constantly going there on maps like every day. So right now I'm getting AI to help me figure out how to do that. And then my fiance is a computer coder. So I'm going to get him to set a system up for me so that we can add it in. So that's the newest, most exciting thing. Yeah. And it's a challenge because I'm learning it on my own, but c'est la vie.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I like that. That's really cool.
I'm so excited.
So does it integrate in with like Google Maps then, I guess? So it helps people find that. So their business stands out more on top of everyone else.
Yeah, so it pushes you to the top of Google Maps and the top of like the Google list, but it does it with GPS within the Google Maps. And I don't know all the details yet because I'm still learning it, but I can tell you as soon as I have it all set up.
Yeah.
Don't tell too many people. Don't tell too many people. Yeah. No, that's great though. Yeah. Anything you can integrate into something existing that already works. Apple Maps, Google Maps, because all these people that run off and try to build something or make something and they're like, it's my new app. I'm like, good luck with that. It's not going to work. No, that's awesome though. I love that. Well, where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you? I'm sure we'll speak again and everything else, but what's the best way for people to find you?
So we have a contact form at successstorymarketing.com or our emails are the same, Chanel at Success Story Marketing. So it's CHANEL, just like the perfume. We're on Facebook, Success Story Marketing, Instagram, Success Story Marketing. So find me everywhere.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, we appreciate you coming on. And if Gwen is real, maybe someday we'll meet her. We're not convinced that she's a real person. But
I've heard that before.
I met her virtually. I've met her virtually online. I did have a meeting with her. I have seen a face.
All right. Well, AI is good. AI is good though.
Yeah,
So sounds
right?
good. But yeah. But no, thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it. And we'll let you do your thing, Sean. Go to your meetings, and to be continued.
It was
Thank
great
you
to
so
meet
much,
you.
guys.
Thanks so much, guys.